Hey guys, Duke here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Actually, first off, we're racing at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. What is it called? Francorchamps. Yeah, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. I don't know. Circuit de Spa. Spa! Yeah, we're racing here today, but we're going to do something a little bit different. This is going to be a driver insight video rather than a live race video. The reason why is because DXTory decided not to actually record the race and the commentary that went with it, so I have no choice. That's not all bad news though, because I kind of wanted to do a video like this anyway, so I may as well just use this footage because, you know, this actually ended up being a pretty good race. At no time was I really alone, and the position I placed was something a little bit different for me. I actually earned the position I placed by not just driving clean, but also racing for it, which is something I haven't really done too much of lately. The very last race I did before this was, what the hell was it? It was Road America. And for those of you who watched it, you'll realize that, oh, it was a great race. Very exciting, a lot of action, you know, some very close racing, and unfortunately, it didn't end so well. I was in a bit over my head, which I alluded to in the beginning of the race, and it ended up having disastrous consequences. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about where I am as a driver. And I'm also going to change things up a little bit in the way that you view this, because I think I'm going to give you a bit more in the way of external views, and probably swap between the two a little bit more just to show you the more exciting bits on the outside of the car, just to give you an idea of what it is that's around me. For this race, I think like 85 or 86 people gridded. There's probably around 27 or so in this race alone, so there was a lot of traffic here to deal with. Now, what was I going to say? I don't know. We're just going to get through the pace lap here. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say is you'll notice that I am looking around a fair bit. I am wearing track IR because I'm just trying to give you a little bit of what you're used to seeing, and that's me looking around at absolutely everything except the track. So anyway, green flag, here we are, we're off into it, turn one, you know, just trying to get through it safe. But unlike previous races, this time, you know, I was on it. As soon as I was actually ready for the green flag this time, and that was it. I'm mad at it, and off I go. So I'm in it, and this is kind of rare for me to actually be closing the gap, you know, inside of the first lap. You can see I kind of shotgun my way past these two guys because of it. This is one thing that has I've noticed has really been a problem with me. I've never been ready when the green flag drops, and it's always cost me a few positions. This is one of the rare times, actually, I don't think it's ever happened before, where I've actually grabbed a couple of positions right off inside of the first lap. So this is something that I've been working on a lot, and I'm hoping that you know, that I continue to get better at it, because if I stop losing those beginning positions, my race suddenly gets easier. I don't have to push as much. I still have to push, of course, to be a little bit competitive, but I don't have to push as much as I normally do. So right now I can actually race within my envelope, at least a little bit. But you know, everybody's on cold tires, so I'm just kind of trying to get some heat in the tires, trying to get the pressure up, you know, not do anything stupid, just keep the car under control and see how I stack up against my fellow drivers. Right now, I think I'm in 5th or 6th place, probably 6th place right now. So not too bad in a grid of this size, at a track that I'm, you know, for all intents and purposes, pretty new at. And, you know, considering I've only been racing, geez, since February. Actually, that's not even entirely true. I've been driving since February in iRacing, and I've been racing the past 4 weeks. So I've really only been racing about a month here. What's happened is those of you who are not new to my videos, you know that if you watch my races, you can see that I am not the fastest guy on the field by any stretch of the imagination, and that hasn't changed. I will say, though, when I race, I pay attention to what's going on when I race, and when I create the YouTube videos or stream on Twitch, I re-watch these races constantly. In the editing process in Premiere Pro, I re-watch the race constantly just to make sure that you know, the video turns out the way I wanted at the end. But the side effect is, of course, I'm seeing what's going on the entire time. It's kind of permeating into my through my thick skull into my brain, and I'm actually learning things about the kind of driver I am. And that's probably the most important distinction there. I'm a driver. I'm not a racer, and that's not good. I mean, I've done pretty well with it to this point. I'm kind of getting sick of it. I want to be a bit more competitive. I don't want to place where I place because I happen to do it clean and other people screwed up. I want to place where I place because I raced for it, and I want, you know, if Lady Luck is going to smile on me, I want her to smile on me and put me on the podium or in first place. I want to be in the position to do that, and I haven't been in that position because I haven't put myself there. Now, the problem is, in doing that, yes, I'm more competitive. Yes, I'm definitely faster. However, I am much less consistent. You can even see in this race I have marks that I try to hit, and I try to hit them as consistently as humanly possible. Every lap I try to make the same as the lap before it, but I'm still not there yet. I'm still not perfect with it. I have a long way to go before I consider myself happy with where it is. But considering how new I am to actually to racing, I'm pretty happy with where I am. You take a look going back to Road America, that was a race where a bunch of things went wrong. First off, I had competitive pace, and I knew this going into the race, but the one thing I did say in the beginning of the race was that I wasn't terribly comfortable at the track. And somehow, within the between lap 1 and lap 3, I somehow forgot that and decided I was going to hot lap throughout the rest of the race. And that worked for quite a while, a lot longer than it would even in a practice session. But then I don't know what happened. I guess I just didn't turn the wheel enough in the kink. I don't think I got off the gas enough in the kink. And I ended up going into the wall doing like 160, and then that's pretty much the end of the race. You can see there, I finally did get past that guy. The lap before, I probably could have dove in there, but I just didn't feel like I had a good enough run on him. To be fair, I don't think I had a good enough run on him in there either. But I thought I'd just pull off to the right and watch his brake lights. If his brake lights came on earlier than mine, I would just race him into the corner, which is what I did there. And I managed to make a clean pass out of it. So here we are. We're up into 5th place. Is it 5th place? Yeah, I think we're in 5th. No, 5th or 4th. No, we're in 4th right now, actually. This 3 cars in front of me is well, the back 3, and the back 3 of the lead group, and the leader has driven away. I mean, you know, that kind of happens. There's always one guy in here who's a bit of an alien, and he just takes off, and the rest of us are left fighting for the scraps. So I've got these guys in my sights, and I'm just going to try and keep them there and see if I can close the gap, but who am I kidding? I probably won't be able to, but I'm going to try anyway. So, yeah, ramble, yada, yada, yada. Okay, now I've kind of lost my train of thought. Anyway, getting back to it. Now, after watching these videos continually, you know, then I post them to YouTube and check them out there, make sure they're okay. I probably watch every one of my videos that I post at least a dozen times. That's not narcissism. That's, what the hell would that... What would you call that? ADD? I don't know, but I just want to make sure that what I'm putting up there, the content I'm happy with, and hopefully that you're happy with as well too. That's really all it is. So, but in doing that, as I said before, I'm starting to see areas in my racing where I can actually improve and, of course, bring some speed into it. I've noticed that I go into the corners, a lot of times I go into the corners a little bit too fast, and I end up chasing the car through the center of the turn and then getting on the gas later coming out of the corner. I've really been working on this a lot lately, trying to get into the corner at the right pace, having decent speed throughout the middle of the corner, and then getting on the gas at or before the apex if I possibly can. Now, it doesn't always work because the one thing I struggle with there, which is what I've struggled with since the beginning of joining iRacing, is over slowing the car. I have this tendency to get on the brakes a little bit too heavy, go into the corner a little bit slower than I need to, and then get on the gas really early just to get through the corner fast enough. It's a delicate balance, and it's something I've been struggling with. The other thing I noticed too, which was a real problem with Road America, was Road America, as I said in the video, is a deceptively tricky track. It looks pretty straightforward. It is actually quite straightforward, but there's some nuances in there that really can upset the car. And if you just lose your concentration for a split second, it has disastrous results around there. Now, because the track was so deceptively simple in layout, I picked it up in no time. I really did. I had no trouble putting down decent laps. I'm not going to say fast, but decent laps. And unfortunately, what happened is because I picked up the track so fast, I never really picked up the track, which I know sounds ridiculous, but basically it's a case of if you've ever raced, you'll have heard the phrase "too fast, too soon." And that's exactly what happened to me at Road America. I was driving that track a lot faster than my skill level was actually able to keep up with, and again, you saw the results. So, and I didn't even really notice it at Road America. I think the next week we were racing, I don't know where we were racing the next week, but it really came to light there. I couldn't make it through a lap. You know, I was 3 days in and I couldn't put together more than 4 or 5 laps without actually completely destroying the car. I was frustrated. You know, I almost broke my headset. I was so mad I threw it one day, and of course my track IR, and I was just losing. I'm just thinking, what the hell? I'm a better driver than this, but I couldn't get around the track. And it turns out, well, yeah, this guy spins out, which was actually quite lucky for me, because I went into that last chicane there a little bit sideways myself, and had he not been there, I might have spun out. He just forced me, with him being there, to get on the brake a little bit more and settle the car. Anyway, I noticed doing that series of practice sessions that I was definitely going, oh yeah, it was Donington, that's what it was, Donington. I was going too fast, too quickly, I couldn't keep it on the track, I wasn't competitive. By the time I realized it was a Thursday, and it was a 70-minute race at Donington. I had no experience there at all, and it was just too late in the week for me to race it. Even though I really wanted to, it was just too late to make it happen. It was actually eerily similar to Road America. The only difference with Road America was it let me get around the track, but Donington's a lot more technical in nature, without brake markers and stuff, and no obvious places to actually slow the car. You have to be right on it there. If you're not, you're off the track, and that's what was happening to me big time. That's why I passed on racing it. Spa, on the other hand, yeah, it's a little bit easier to mark, you know, to hit a mark and aim for it and get your braking pretty much right, your turn in pretty much right, your corner exit pretty much right. So that's why I didn't struggle here too much. But also the reason I'm doing decent here at Spa is because I decided not to hit the gas early. I decided the first few days, yes, I was familiar with this track, but the first few days were going to be about finding the line and sticking to it, and then just trying to grab speed off of that. And oddly enough, what ended up happening, which is what used to happen, is eventually I got through the track cleaner, I got through the track quicker, and the times came down all by themselves. I didn't even have to do anything. So that's the biggest part of my racing that you're going to see. I'm hoping that I'm going to be a lot more consistent in the way I drive, but I'm also going to be a little bit quicker. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive in and out of the corners, which is what I was doing at Mid-Ohio, which unfortunately the last 2 races I crashed out of those as well too. One crashing into my teammate, and the other one crashing into a wall, being a complete and utter lunatic. So yeah, of the last 5 races, 4 of them have been disastrous. This is the only good one. So this is another reason this one's going up, because this is what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for this kind of racing, and you'll notice throughout this entire race, just by the external views, that I spend very little time alone. I think I'm about to get past here pretty quick though by this blue car, because he is definitely faster than me by, like, you know, a couple of tenths maybe per lap. You know, that's just the way it is. Unlike Road America, I know that he's a bit faster than me. I'm going to try and keep him back there, but I'm not going to be as aggressive with it as I was in Road America. This time around, if he can get past me, I'm going to actually let him pass me. Now, having said that, I'm not just going to pull over and let the guy, you know, just drive right past me. That's not going to happen either. Instead, I'm just going to put myself in a position to not let him pass, and if he's able to make it happen, he's going to make it happen, and I'll just let him have it. I'm not going to race right into the corner, drive outside of my envelope, or do anything stupid that can put us both in jeopardy. Instead, if he can make the pass and he puts himself into a position where he's beating me into a corner or whatever it is, I'm just going to let him have it. That doesn't mean I'm going to just roll over and die. It just means that I'm going to drive a little bit smarter than I did at Road America. The thing, especially with this guy here, is, you know, I know he's a little bit faster than me, but I don't think he's going to race away from me either. So even if he does get past me, the worst thing that can possibly happen really is that I end up turning a little bit quicker laps and maybe we gain on the guys in front of us. It's actually not always a bad thing to be passed. And this is one thing that I'm actually trying to figure out as well too. There's been a lot of times I've turned some really fast laps, faster laps than I'm capable of doing, and it's all been because I've been sucked up behind some guy's rear. Well, that doesn't sound good. I've been sucked up to some guy's rear because of the draft. So if he's a little bit faster than me, he can go. If he's a lot faster than me, well, there's absolutely nothing I can do, and he's going to go anyway. The difference being here, I'm going to make it so he's got to work for it, but I don't have to work like crazy to keep him back there, and maybe we can both benefit from him passing me. Who knows? Okay, got it. Really beat the shit out of that topic. Now, on to the next biggest thing that really killed me at Road America. It was something else I did that was completely out of character for me, and it had disastrous results as well. Oh my god. Apex is over there, buddy. Yeah, I think this might be where this guy passes me, actually, because I completely missed that corner and it blew my speed onto this this section here as well, too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he passes me now. Let's just watch it, actually, before I start on my next train of thought, because it's more rambling ahead. Yeah, I'm on the inside line, so this is kind of what I said. I'm not going to make it easy for him. He's going to have to take the outside line, yeah, as he's doing. You can see he's just flying right past me. He got a better run up here. He's taking the outside, and look, he beat me into the corner. I'll slow down a little bit, give him the corner. Safe, we're both by. Good pass, very good pass on his part. We're both through clean, no drama. That, you know, that is racing, I think. It's now I'm just going to stick with him and see if maybe we can both benefit from this pass. And if he screws up, if I stick with him and he screws up, I'm in a position to take that spot back. If not, well, the guy's faster than me. He legitimately passed me. He deserves a position. He's a better driver. And for me, that's good enough. You know, yes, I want to place higher, but I don't want to put myself in a position or put someone else in a position where our races get destroyed because I don't want to let somebody who's legitimately faster and legitimately better than me past. I'm not going to do that. That happened at Road America, which I mentioned a million times, and I'm going to keep on mentioning because Road America was a complete nightmare for me. The unfortunate part is now I have this Porsche up my ass. There he is. This Porsche up my ass that I got to deal with, who, he's not faster. He's actually a bit slower than me, but he's got a habit of sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, and that's kind of got me a little bit worried. I'm actually looking in the mirrors a lot more now than I did in the race. I didn't really pay too much attention to him, but I do know that coming up here, he kind of tries to dive on the inside. Yeah, look at him. He's diving on the inside there and trying to take the spot. That is classic dive bombing there, or at least an attempt to. The only difference there being I didn't let him have it. A lot of times I'll just completely miss my line just to let somebody pull a stupid maneuver like that. And I'm not going to do that anymore either. That's kind of a side topic and not one that I really want to get into. It's just definitely a racecraft issue and something I'm working on, but the idea is this. If you're sticking your nose into a corner where it doesn't belong, I'm not going to back off anymore. If I've got the corner and I've got the line, I'm going to take it, and if you crash me out, everybody's going to know it's your fault. Simple. I've been in this habit ever since joining iRacing of letting somebody like that stick their nose into a corner where it does not belong, and instead of me taking the line, I've moved over and given them a position. I'm not doing that anymore. So that's 9 times out of 10, him doing what he just did would have actually given him the position and may have cost me 1 or 2 positions. That shit ain't happening anymore. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to talk about, the last thing I wanted to talk about was another big issue that really made Road America a complete disaster for me, and that was qualifying. Oddly enough, my qualifying effort was one of the biggest issues with why I crashed out of Road America. Now, for those of you not in the know, which is pretty much none of you because I've never mentioned this before, when I qualify on my race setup. That means I have race fuel, I have ride height, suspension, everything is set exactly, gear ratio, everything is set exactly the way it's going to be in the race. So when I'm turning my qualify lap, I'm turning what I know I can turn in the race. Road America was completely different in that regard because Road America was a 70-minute race. It was going to require a pit stop, and I didn't want to do my qualify session with a full tank of gas, even though that's how I was going to be racing. So I did something completely uncharacteristic of me, and I drained half a tank of gas. I qualified with half a tank of gas and had a decent qualifying time, sure, but that's what I got used to. I got used to practicing, I got used to qualifying, I got used to doing everything with a car that was lighter. And that's just stupid. It's you know, there's a lot of guys that can do that, and you know, hats off to them that they can do it, but I'm not one of them. I go by feel, I go by habit, I go by what I've turned hundreds and hundreds of laps seeing. And what I've turned all those laps on was less fuel. So when I actually got into the race, I was driving a heavier car that wasn't going to handle quite as well, and I wasn't ready for it. And you saw what happened. I went into a wall doing 160. That isn't going to happen anymore. From now on, I'm just going to stick with my regular routine. Yes, I know it's going to make me a lot slower. Yes, I know it's going to throw me deeper in the pack where, you know, the slower guys are, but I can always move forward. That's the one thing I want to do. I always want to move forward. Yes, I'll be slower, but at least I'll be driving the pace I can drive. And everyone else who's qualified on a qualify setup, which is typical, most people do it around here. Most people have two setups. They have a qualify setup that's only got enough gas for a couple of laps. You know, it's set so they can go as fast as humanly possible and grid as high as humanly possible. The reasoning being that you know, if they grid really high like that, they're probably going to miss all the carnage that's going to happen in the middle of the pack. And you know, great, fair game, fair. That's a good strategy, and I'm glad it works for them. But for me, unfortunately, what ends up happening is I end up turning a pace lap that is too fast, and I end up doing one of two things. I end up crashing, or I end up going backwards, meaning everybody passes me. It's no good. I'm driving outside of my skill level, and I'm not going to do that anymore. So from now on, I'm going to stick with what I'm comfortable doing. And if it's a 70-minute race where I've got to actually drive the car on a full tank of gas, I'm going to qualify it on a full tank of gas. And more importantly, I'm going to practice it on a full tank of gas. That was, I guess, the last element I wanted to mention, and that is the entire week I was racing on half a tank of gas, and that's not something I normally do. What I won't do is when I first start practicing, I won't practice on a full tank of gas. I'll practice on half a tank of gas just because the car's lighter, the car's a bit more nimble, a little bit easier to handle, and I can find the racing line a bit easier. If I do it on a full tank of gas at the beginning of the week, I'm not able to do that. Ooh, just about lost it there. But what the mistake I made at Road America was I practiced the entire week on half a tank of gas, which is just stupid. The race comes, I have to fill the gas tank up, and I'm in a car I don't recognize anymore. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like I said before, a lot of people do it, a lot of people are successful with it. I'm not one of those guys. So I won't be doing it ever again. From now on, it'll always be, I practice the first few days on lighter fuel just to get the line, get comfortable with the line. Once I find that line, I'm doing a full tank of gas, and then that's the end of it. So I'm hoping that that kind of gives you some insight into where I am right now. I know it was a bit of a ramble fest. I apologize if it was too much, but I felt, you know, after doing this amount of races now, it was probably a good time to give you guys some insight into where I am, what I'm thinking, and where I'm going with this. I guess lastly we should talk about the future of iRacing and how it fits into my schedule. Well, to not be too blunt about it, there is a major future with iRacing and me, and it's something that you may as well, if you're not used to seeing it on the channel, which I don't know how you can't be, as most of my videos are iRacing centric, there's going to be a lot more of it. When I bought iRacing in February of 2014, I bought it for a year, so I'm paid up until the February of 2015, and I know for a fact that I'm going to pay for at least another year, which takes me into February 2016. And if I'm able to get a 2-year deal, I'm actually going to do that too. So I would expect to see at least another year of this, possibly 2. The one thing I like about iRacing over virtually every other game I play is I'm actually getting something out of it. It's not that I'm learning about racecraft, which I am learning a lot about racecraft. I'm learning things about myself as well too. The one thing, just to back up a little bit here, what brought me into iRacing was Battlefield 3 of all things. I got into competitive Battlefield 3 with Team Reddit through Daskro, actually, who's a very popular YouTuber for Battlefield, and I was absolutely hooked in the competitive scene. It's something I never thought I would enjoy, and Battlefield 3 really ignited that passion in me to compete with other people in an online scenario. I loved it so much I stuck with them through Battlefield 3, but Battlefield 3 was ending and giving way to Battlefield 4. So I intended to jump both feet into Battlefield 4 and get heavy into the competitive scene. Unbeknownst to me, EA, DICE were collectively going to shit the bed on that title, and they destroyed the online community surrounding anything competitive Battlefield. So that left me with nothing to do, really. I mean, sure, there's a lot of games I can play, but I wanted to do something online competitive, and managed to be looking around on YouTube, heard about iRacing, looked interesting, joined up, did some races, bam, I'm in it. I can't leave it. I love it. I love everything about it, but I also love the fact that it's teaching me things about myself. You know, there's just a lot I'm learning from it, and every day is a learning experience. Every day I get into the car, I learn something else, either about racecraft or about myself, and there's just not a lot of games on the market that do that for me. This just happens to be one of them. Actually, this happens to be the only one right now, so I'm going to stick with it. Plus, the community surrounding iRacing is fantastic. You know, the licensing system is absolutely incredible. There's not enough good things I can say about iRacing. I absolutely love it. I think the future of it is exceptionally bright. Even, I mean, at any one time, what was it? Within the last, I don't know, a couple of months ago, they surpassed 1 billion laps turned. That is, you know, and a community of what, over 50,000 people? That is a very, very strong title, one that I want to support, with a developer and a community that is very helpful, very focused on, you know, racing clean, good racecraft, having a good time, and being social in it as well too. It's got absolutely everything that you would want in an online game. And, you know, really, for a game that's been around this long, it really doesn't look that bad. It plays very well. The developers are always releasing new content. There's new cars coming, more tracks coming. You know, they're going to update the graphics for DX11, so it's going to start looking a little bit better. I mean, it's just an amazing title that is continually evolving with an amazing community, and it's a great experience. There's absolutely no reason to leave it. So, ramble. I'm really sorry to keep going on here, guys, but iRacing is going to be on this channel for a very long time to come, and I hope you enjoy it. So, having said all of that, if you wouldn't mind, please leave a comment. I know that you've probably had some thoughts as to whether or not you like this video, didn't like this video, like this format, don't like this format, even like iRacing, don't like iRacing. It doesn't matter what you were thinking. I know you were thinking something, so please do me a favor, drop a comment. It'll help me improve the content in the future for you guys. If you don't like iRacing, please say something. I can start making more of a concerted effort to play other games outside of iRacing to give you some different content to watch. If you do love iRacing and you don't like this format, please let me know. If you do like the iRacing and you do like this format and want to hear more of it, please let me know. Whatever it is that crossed your mind when you were watching this video, please share it in the comments, because as I said, I love making this content. I love making this content for myself, but I'd be stupid to not make it in hopes that maybe you might watch it, enjoy it, and maybe share it with somebody else who enjoys racing. So, having said all of that, I've really run out of things to say. I believe we're, you know, maybe a lap or two from the end of the race here. So I think I'm just going to end it there. And, you know, as always, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing and sharing. And, you know, it's really great that you guys seem to be enjoying this sort of stuff, because I really enjoy doing it. As I said, I'm not going to stop doing it anytime soon, so that's why I ask for your feedback, just so I can deliver content that you enjoy more and more every time you see it. So again, that's the end of it. I've got nothing else to say. I'm just going to let you enjoy the rest of the race. I can't believe I'm finally shutting up, but I am. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with people you don't like. It doesn't make any difference. Just share it. And as always, Duke from fragtarg.net. You have yourself a great day. Thank you for watching. Take care, YouTube. Bye-bye.